Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video we're going to be looking at signs you will see right before you're in the flow. One thing I love about being in the flow is we're all kind of looking for that specific thing that's going to activate us in a continuous domino effect of like good luck, positive things, manifestations happening really quickly. And we want it to be easy, but then we try to control it and we focus on it, we put a lot of pressure on it. And this is what's so beautiful about being in the flow. You are the truest version of yourself. You're feeling confident and happy, you're very present, you're in the moment, you're not worried about what happens next, but anytime you have a whim or desire, it just seems to magically come your way. And that's what being in the flow is like. I always like to compare it to when you're surfing in like a wave or something like that. At any given moment, you could fall off the board. And so there's this thrill of being like, wow, I'm riding this wave. Every moment is sort of a fortunate thing to happen, but I'm not even thinking about that. I'm just doing it. I'm just enjoying the fact that I'm in the wave. I'm in the flow. So we're going to be looking at those signs that let you know, hey, it's happening. I'm falling into it. I'm starting to surf that wave. I'm starting to get into that flow. Because sometimes right before it happens, we think it would be this big explosion or party, this really big positive thing that would imply like, yeah, you're there. But sometimes you could be at your worst and unbeknownst to you, everything is perfectly coming into place to put you into that flow. And something that doesn't feel great beforehand is actually you sort of clearing out the mess in your life and other things like that. Or maybe your life just doesn't feel anything terribly special, but you can't quite put your finger on it if you're moving in the right direction. And little did you know, you are. So these are the signs that will get you excited about hopping into that state of mind, which therefore means, all this good manifestations, all these positive things, feeling like the best version of yourself. As you can tell, I'm very excited about the concept of you being in the flow. I also wanted to let you guys know I posted 2 new videos over on my Patreon. I went to the Akashic Records and looked up about deja vu. Oh my God. That one was so fun. I actually did a whole drawing for the sacred geometry that is the representation of deja vu and went to a whole explanation of that. That was like really fun. And then the other thing is somebody asked, what other supernaturals exist? And I asked and I found out and I put it over there. I also wanted to let you guys know, as per usual, I have an intuition training course. I cannot recommend both these courses enough. In the intuition training course, you can go to the spirit realm, you can meet your spirit guides, you can learn to travel, but here's the cool thing. You take all of that information and you apply it in your everyday life and you use it to your advantage. You can see the signs yourself. It doesn't feel like life is so out of your hands. It's easier to read, like you finally have the pamphlet of your own life in front of you by merging the non-physical and physical world together through that course. And then I have a tarot training course because it is phenomenal. It is the most physical, direct way to just start asking questions and looking into the why, where, when, and how of it all in life, and be able to do it real quick before you go off to work or before breakfast or for funsies in between commercials of your favorite show. You can even have fun seeing what's going to happen next before it happens, but being able to, again, same thing like the intuition course, just in a different type of way of saying like what's going on and looking into all of it all. That's in the description below for you if you're interested in that. Now, as you can see, going back to the question, we have 4 groups in front of us. Group number 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to give you a moment to pick the group that you resonate with most. Now that you have, you can go down the description for your appointed matching group and time slot. But let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's look at the signs you will see right before being in the flow by looking at the cards. We've got the King of Swords in reverse, 5 of Cups in reverse, 6 of Cups upright. Ooh, I love the Star card. That is like the most being in the flow type of card you can have for this question, so that's perfect. We have the Death card in reverse, and we have the Lovers card in reverse, upright. give me just one moment to look at everything and hear what my spirit guide has to say. Okay, let's get into this. So first we're going to start off with the Lovers card. This works for both singles and people who are currently in a relationship. So this is all about the easy peasiness of love, because it can be, and many times should be, very easy. So for people who are in a relationship, you're just going to feel that things feel a little smoother, a little bit easier. Maybe you've been with them for a little while, and suddenly you both feel kind of inspired to be more romantic to one another. Maybe you're fighting less, if that was an issue before. Maybe things are just kind of going your way. Maybe you're not the type of couple to ever have arguments, and you're just feeling like it has a heightened sense of smoothness, like everything is kind of happening so easily that it feels like both of you, really got the move, so to speak, even if you both are just kind of doing the same thing you always do. There's this sense of like it's just that much more easier. And for people who are single, you will actually meet somebody in your life, and it will feel like a sense of, well, I don't mean to be redundant here, apologies, but easy. They will come into your life. You are not necessarily doing anything to bring them in. They just kind of sort of show up, and it's not that hard to be on the same page, want to go towards the same direction. It's like, hey, you want to hang out later? Yeah, I'm totally free. It just doesn't feel like there's much effort or resistance or games, that type of thing. With all that keeping in mind, though, it doesn't necessarily mean you will end up with them in the long run. And my spirit guide said in some cases this might happen, but for others, it's not important that they are then this long-term, well, I mean, they potentially could be a long-term partner, but I'm not saying they are the one, so to speak. But it's the idea that being able to be open and connected to people in this way, in such a vulnerable way, is just going to be something that you don't feel like you have any walls up, and you attract back that energy. You feel open, you feel ready, you feel free and confident enough to express yourself this way in general and to others, and also be able to receive it. And so you're getting a sort of mirrored action of that sense of openness coming back to you with either your current partner or with another person, which I think is very cute and beautiful. Then we have the Star card over here, another sign. As you can see, this is water being poured into the earth. And the way my spirit guide expressed this idea, they said, the water is this idea of like knowledge. Often in the spirit realm, if you're familiar enjoying my intuition training course and you're in the spirit realm, often water is used as an explanation for cosmic knowledge. If you see water, if water is being handed to you by a spirit guide or whomever you're working with, it's like a way of saying like, here, you're tapping into that. You're doing a great job. You know everything. You've got this kind of thing. And the way my spirit guide expressed it is you're taking the knowledge you know or learn and you're putting it out into the earth. So when you feel this sense of inspiration where every time you want to share a little idea that you have, or you see someone struggling and you're like, hey, what if you did this instead? Or you have knowledge and you're just excited to share with people fun facts. It's you taking your knowledge and then putting it out into the world. And this is a really broad concept and sign, because imagine you're somebody who is a fashion designer, and as you're enjoying making things and garments, you go through a time period where you're no longer sort of holding that version of yourself back, and you're sharing with people your techniques, you're sharing with people your creations, you're letting people know how you got there and how you got this idea, whatever is your inside knowledge, and you're actively putting it out into the world. When you're in this natural state of flow and feeling inspired to do this, this in itself is a sign. Now let's go to the Death card in reverse. Now, I think this one's actually kind of fantastic, especially if you are somebody working towards being the best version of yourself. It can be tiring sometimes when you're trying to self-improve, or you're going through sometimes when it comes to the death card and you're going through a metamorphosis, it's not great. It's intense. And you're just kind of used to it to a certain degree. There's a certain positivity towards it because you're like, okay, well, I'm working towards this version of myself. Sometimes it's not always, smooth, and, sometimes there's rough waters and stuff like that. Well, I'm happy to say, when you have made this decision, and you're in this mindset where you're like, you wake up one day and you're like, no, I'm done. I'm going to stop seeing myself as the best version of myself, 2 days from now, 2 weeks from now, 2 years from now. I'm going to realize that best version of myself is right now. I'm going to stop with the self-improvement. I'm going to stop with this idea that I have to go through some sort of intense change. I'm just letting it go. I'm going to stop searching and realize it's already found and it's in me. And now you might not think this on a very intense level. You just might wake up one morning and kind of forget your regular train of thought where maybe you're always like, yeah, I got to work on that. I know I've really been trying to do this thing, or I have this thing I want to go start doing, but I'll get to it tomorrow. And you stop thinking about it. You're just kind of hanging out. You're present, but you're more than present. You're just kind of like vibing. You're enjoying whatever joke you're making and sharing with others. You're, having a good time, not feeling guilty about whatever you're doing and realizing it's not something you have to give up or put away. And you're just really starting to settle into your own self and really vibe with it and acknowledge it, essentially, which I think is really beautiful. So the sign that you're not in those type of train of thoughts, patterns of thinking that you need to constantly self-improve, metamorphosis, and there's just sort of this waking up of, again, it starts off subtle, you're just not thinking about it. You're just not putting yourself on this pillar that you can't reach, or putting it far in the future. You're just not thinking those thoughts anymore. And then it's the settling in of you being like, because you're free from those type of thoughts of always thinking you need to improve something, then you start to notice you're just more in your everyday life with extra bit of joy, and an extra bit of joy that it's you and that you're pretty great right now, which I love. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because I was also told with the death card in reverse, I'm comparing it with the Six of Cups, is the death card is about the end of your past and anything you were hung up on too. So anything that kept bringing you to thinking about it, consoling it, acknowledging it as a reason as to why you feel or act the way you do now when making certain choices. There's a certain part of you that's like, finally, and this is again with the sign thing of you being like, you know what, I'm going to leave the past the past. The past is gone. It's not here anymore. I'm not going to just hold on to this anymore and repeat this mantra anymore. But at the same time, while this is letting go of things you have thought about actively from the past, the Six of Cups is about becoming reconnected with the part of the past that you forgot about, you didn't actively think about. So mostly this is really cute, by the way. This is you reconnecting with that sort of like inner child in you. And specifically, it is about reconnecting to like, what was something when you were really young you loved to do? You totally forgot about it. You haven't thought about it in like, 10, 20 years, in a really, really long time. And you're just like, you know what, for funsies, I'm going to do that again. It doesn't have a purpose. It's not going to, make me any money. It's nothing. It's just a fun little thing I'm going to do. And this is you tapping into that whimsy. Like maybe when we take the imagery here, maybe you loved to press flowers. That's a very fun, easy thing to do. Spring's happening depending on your side of the world. Maybe you want to go pick some flowers and press them, or maybe do some cute kind of thing where the activity is really slow and like a little craft or something like that. And it's something you enjoyed back then. And tapping into that activity, while it seems really simple and you're just kind of like, oh yeah, I forgot how fun this is, you're remembering that there was a part of you before all this other stuff happened that did become your mantra and affected you into the person you are now that you're letting go of. Before all that, there was a version of you that just connected to happiness, easygoingness, connected to these fun little activities, and in these little activities were that true version of yourself that wasn't hindered, wasn't thinking of what could be or what has been, because it hadn't been yet. These were the fun little things you did. So you're inspired to pick up something from your past you haven't thought about in so long. And keep in mind, this could be from when you were like a teenager or something like that. It just depends on whatever you're vibing. But that is one of your signs. Now this one's super easy. Five of Cups in reverse, just very point blank. You're not going to be so sad anymore. We love that. There's a sense of like grief with this card, shame put with it, and there's a sense of it just naturally leaving your life, and it just doesn't feel like it's a heavy thing on you. Slowly you just wake up, and each day that you start the day, it feels a little easier, and this feels like it's not so much of a heavy vibration and feeling weighing on you, because sometimes these things are not ideas you put in your head over and over again, but a weight you feel, and it feels like that weight's just naturally lifting, which makes sense with all of these beautiful things around you. It would make sense that that naturally would go away. So as that goes away, and I do want to be clear here, if you are familiar with my Being in the Flow video, I go into great detail about the 4 kinds of different flow, how you can get into it, how to describe yourself and match yourself with the right flow. I highly recommend that video. Probably should have mentioned that in the beginning of the intro. Now I'm going to have to say that in every card group. That's fine. I'll just say it in every card group. Well, anyways, you can be not happy or your best self and still be in the flow. I want to be clear about that. Just because you're not happy doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong and you are somehow disconnected from it. I just want to be clear. So just because if you're not feeling your best right now, or in the future or in the past haven't, that doesn't mean you're wrong, you've done something bad. Don't worry about that. That's just not the case. Now, last but not least, the King of Swords. And I love this for you because it feels out of left field for me, but hey. So with the King of Swords in reverse, this is when somebody who uses their sort of logic and wit against you. This could be anyone. This could be like a good friend. This could be a boss, but it always feels like you're sort of under attack from them and you're like, what is their problem? But it's more than just saying like they don't like you or giving off an error vibration. It's like they use their words and their intelligence in an active way to either put you down, or maybe you thought you were going to get some sort of advantage at work, and then this person who's sort of a whatever reason a vendetta against you, they sort of use that tactic inside of themselves to then trick you into thinking you're getting something, then they give it to someone else, and then you're like, what is this? What are these mind games? You know what I mean? Well, I'm happy to say they will just be naturally leaving the picture of your life. Them leaving and being gone and not being entering in your life is a sign you're heading into the flow. So I love this for you. Lots of fun things. Feeling more confident in yourself, feeling more vibrant to be open with your ideas, with your love, reconnecting, disconnecting in the best way, feeling better, and having those people that you don't want in your life naturally leave and making it a lot smoother and easier and keeping the good vibes going. Very, very positive things. I love all of this stuff. So I hope you're excited, and please leave a like on this video, a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. I'm wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing the next one, and let's get ready for group number 2. Group number 2. Let's find out what signs will you see right before being in the flow by looking at the cards. We've got 7 of Cups in reverse. We have the World card upright. We have the King of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Hanged Man in reverse. We have the Empress in reverse, and we have the Tower in reverse. Okay, before I go silent for a moment, just so I can look at everything and listen to my spirit guide, I just want to mention, totally forgot to say this in the beginning of the intro, I have a whole spiritual talks video about being in the flow. It goes over the 4 different types of flow. What are they? How can you identify the comparable flow to who you are, and like how you feel like you're expressing yourself in your life at that moment in order to get in the flow and all that jazz. So that is another resource for you. Anyways, give me a moment to look at everything. Oh, I love this. Okay, this is just super cute. Okay, I love all this. This makes me very happy to see all this. So first, let's start with these 2 cards. They're paired together. So my spirit guide was talking about how in the imagery here, and again, if you're enjoying taking my tarot training course, remember, you can use both the imagery and the meaning of the card itself. It just depends on what you're pulled to, called to, for whatever reason, why you're called to it, depending on how your intuition works. So over here, we have the imagery my spirit guide was telling me about, this representing your world. So the world that you know is whatever comes into your perimeter, whatever engages with you, which is something to contemplate whenever you're just living out and living life and you want to kind of redirect how you want things going more in your favor, or if you notice something out of place, you can fix it. You just think, this is my reality, this is my world, and whatever I'm interacting with is what is in my world. So in your world, we have a lot of social situations. This is everything from friends to family to, can it involve romantic situations? My spirit guide's like, yes, definitely. So it's an entirely social thing. And this is all positive stuff, by the way. So it just depends on who you vibe with and stuff in that circumstance. But in the Seven of Cups, it appears you are going to have, during this time period, one of the signs is you are going to have a gambit of social sort of offers and situations. And this is where it gets really cute. It is perfect for whatever you're vibing, depending on the time of day or night. Like maybe you end up having the cutest little text phone conversation with either your current partner or a new love interest or something like that, and you're texting on the way to work and a little cute morning conversation. And then maybe later you're at work and you get paired with the perfect coworker, the new coworker. You both kind of vibe with each other and you feel really positive and easygoing. It makes you feel like everything's more fun at work, and then it's time for lunch, and then maybe everyone gets together and you're just feeling this sense of, instead of just like eating your lunch and getting it done with, you're having an inspired conversation that makes you want to pick up a new hobby or buy a new thing that you're interested in and exploring or whatever like that. And then in the evening, you've got a different friend for like having dinner, and then you have another friend for late night phone calls. Whoever it is, the vibe is that you're gonna have all these options to go do things, have conversations matching depending on your mood, and you will have choices. So you are going to have so many options that you can say no to some people. But this will get even better. Traditionally with the Seven of Cups, it would imply that you need to choose one situation, one person, and then that's it. You get a lot of options and test them out and you try it and you get the one. But here's the cool thing in your circumstance. Your world is meant to be vibrant and full. You're meant to be inspired and feel excited about who you're with, and you're allowed to feel how you want to feel and have the matching social situation to carry out that feeling. So this is not about you compromising or choosing one option. It's about you having all of them and getting to enjoy all of them. So expect all of a sudden your social calendar really just suddenly out of nowhere to kind of just become quite full, and it to make your life more enriching, which I think is really beautiful. Now, I love this in the King of Pentacles and the way my spirit guide was putting it. So you will no longer, this is sort of a kind of a epiphany moment, if you will. Actually, let me just check my spirit guide if I'm psychically picking that up. I am picking it up correctly. So my spirit guide was like, exactly, that's how it's going to happen. You're going to have some form of an epiphany that will make you realize you do not need to define yourself based on the financial successes you have. So maybe you have certain goals and concepts, and it doesn't mean you're not going to reach them, but you're not constantly thinking, oh, this is how much I have to earn a day, depending on if you're a small business, or, oh, I only make this much money. I was hoping, compared to my peers or something like that, they make this much money. But often when people are trapped in a King of Pentacles in reverse situation, it's not so much that they're comparing themselves to other people, but what they have their own personal sort of like pressure on themselves they put. Well, it's sort of like you wake up, you realize like, I need to get out of this train of thought. It does not mean I'm less successful, less special, less worthy of sharing something. Even then, there's other parts of the world to experience. I don't need to constantly micromanage mentally what I think I should be earning or receiving or focused on it all the time. And I love how my spirit guide put it. They said they have more to offer themselves than just how much they earn. They have more to offer the world than just the amount they earn. So remember, we're not saying you're not going to continue to earn lots of money and so on and so forth. It's that it's not the focal point of where your thoughts are running through your head in the day and where you put your attention. And you realize how great you are as an individual and more live life rather than thinking this is how to live your life. Now going on to the Hangman in reverse. This is really interesting. So if you would like to hear more about this, I go into a lot of depth into this on my Patreon. So first, my spirit guide was telling me about how this is related to Neptune and the unconscious mind, that blurring of lines type thing. But specifically, one of the signs is you're going to dive really deep into your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is going to come more towards the focal point. It's going to come more to the forefront of your main thoughts. And you're going to start to be able to receive answers to parts of yourself you might not have. Sometimes it's hard for anybody. You could be pretty self-aware and still not realize the answer you're looking for to answer your own question is right there, essentially, because you're kind of too close to the issue, if you will. But that part of your brain is going to be coming up to the forefront, and you're going to be thinking those deeper thoughts. Again, not that you weren't thinking deep thoughts before, but the thoughts that were more buried under the things that normally captured your attention or you thought of yourself and stuff like that. But here's where it gets more interesting, and this is what I was talking and referencing before. So, a lot of people don't know this, but tons of people channel and actually hear different high vibrational beings, spirit guides, angels, but get this, your higher self is this particular situation for you all the time, because your inner monologue can be the same as the voice that you're hearing. So you aren't aware you're hearing something that's not your thought, because your first instincts are, well, it came from me. It's not that far out of the realm of what I would think, and it's in my tone of voice. Unbeknownst to you, you are actually communicating with someone, which is very cool. Again, if you were looking for that video over on my Patreon, I talk about how to distinguish your inner monologue between hearing an individual. And we're talking about spirit realm stuff. So, specifically, your higher self, and again, if you're not familiar with this, in the spirit realm, there is there's lots of representations and versions of things. And if you can believe it or not, while you can move towards your higher self also exists as a separate entity that, yes, again, if you enjoy my intuition training course, you can go visit, or if you're enjoying my tarot training course, you can talk with at any time. We've done tarot readings on that if you want to see my previous videos. So your higher self is going to be able to tap in, and you are in a state of mind to be open enough to hearing it. And your higher self is going to basically be like, here you go. Here's the things that you wanted to know in order to move towards that flow, move towards that path you wanted, move towards your best self. And you connect to it a lot better because you can hear it, you can follow it, and you can listen to it. So I love that you're not only tapping into your subconscious mind, but you're connecting to your higher self, which is really cute. So again, your higher selves can exist separately, and you can also become your higher self. Both things are true. Now, moving on to that, these two cards go together, and they are so cute. So specifically, my spirit guide said that this involves physical beauty. How do you see yourself? There is going to be a dramatic shift. This is one of those signs and inspired moments where you essentially are like, you know what? I'm tired of not wearing something because I'm afraid I'm going to be judged based on your identity. Maybe you want to have a more vibrant closet and you are in a position where you're like, no, it's more appropriate that I wear jeans and a t-shirt. And you're like, no more. I want to wear patterns and wild things. Or maybe in general, you had certain unspoken rules with yourself. Like maybe you're older and you're like, no, I can't wear a miniskirt anymore. Who said? Who cares? Go wear your miniskirt. Go wear whatever your heart desires, whatever you want, no matter who you are. And the point is, you're just really tapping into this and feeling yourself through expressing yourself. And that expressing yourself is more than just like a little bit of new clothing. It's like going what do I think is the coolest thing I could possibly wear, and just really like treating yourself and diving more into that version and identity of yourself. And it's going to be a big one, especially when we have the Tower card. Remember, this is this is a sort of a reminder for anybody who's new at reading tarot and stuff like that. And I've talked to my spirit guide. The Tower card, everyone loves to use it as like a giant scare tactic to be like, woo. No. It just means it's a very big shift in your everyday life. That doesn't mean it has to be negative. And in this case, I'm really happy to say it's not negative. You are going to be exploring the side of yourself, but more than just getting a new pair of earrings. It is a big wardrobe change. It is a big sense of identity you're unleashing into the world and for yourself. And just really stepping foot instead of just casually thinking about it, having an inkling of being like, oh, I wish I could do that. And just living your best life as yourself physically. Both expressing it and enjoying that you're expressing it. And feeling yourself because you're expressing it. So I love that for you. Lots of fun support and feeling inspired, both socially and emotionally from your support systems, feeling this great connection with yourself and how you're expressing yourself to the world, connection with your true deep inner higher self, and realizing that you do not need to keep managing something that's already on its way. It's already going out into the world and working to your benefit. You're meant to be exploring more creative, emotionally fulfilling fields. So I'm very excited for you. And again, just want to say this one more time for anybody who's in this train of thought. This doesn't mean you're not going to make money if you don't micromanage it. It means you are going to make lots of money, but you don't need to micromanage it. Just want to be clear about that. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please give this video a like. I missed it. Comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any one of my videos. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for our next group, group number 3. Group number 3, let's find out what are the signs you will see before being in the flow by looking at the cards. We have... Oh my God. Okay, before I even get into this, so, you know, when I do this, I'm also simultaneously in the spirit realm and I'm like chatting with my spirit guides and everything like simultaneously. Right now, before this started, randomly, the animal spirit guide, Nautilus, showed up and I just kind of was like, you know, like, oh, they're here, they're vibing. They're here for a reason. Okay, cool. I'm excited to hear what they have to say. That is very cool. We have the Magician upright. What was this? The Four of Cups in reverse, the Magician upright, the Page of Swords in reverse, the Emperor in reverse, the Moon card in reverse, and the Seven of Swords in reverse. Okay, so before I speak to my spirit guide, all the spirit guides, and Nautilus, the animal spirit guide, I just want to let you guys know, forgot to say it in the intro, I have a whole video I did in my Spiritual Talks playlist where I talk about being in the flow. I talk about the 4 different kinds of flow, how you can get into it, all that good jazz, and really breaking it down so you can see who you are and what kind of flow you're compatible with, and then how to get there. So just putting that out there as an extra resource. Now, I'm going to just take a moment to read all of these cards. Okay. I love this. So first off, this is actually not being read as the Four of Cups in reverse, but instead being read as the Nautilus. Wait, let me just ask one more question before that happens. Oh, okay, cool. So I was just asking why was it in reverse and how does that relate to the thing? So Nautilus said that you will come up with an idea, and they were showing me the imagery of their shell being like a swirl, and like, you know, the beginning of the shell being sort of like an empty cavity of what it is, and then as it spirals, it leads to not only a much bigger portion of the shell, but their, you know, face and tentacles. It's like nothing gets worked upon and then become something. And they said the reason why it's being in reverse and being facing this way is the thing that's going to kick off all these other signs that you're going to see is that you're going to start something in particular, and you're going to consistently work on it until it becomes something. And the way they described it is far grander and bigger than you ever could have dreamed the idea could have blossomed into. And I want to be clear, this is not one idea that leads to another idea outside of the subject. It's like one project you work on kind of idea. And remember, that project could be something that's like a literal project, like maybe for fun you do a little sketch, and then before you know it you think, what if I made this a bigger sketch? Then what if I made a TikTok around it? Now what if I then built upon that sketch and made it a big painting? Then what if I made it from a painting and the TikTok, I used the two together to make an animation? Do you see what I'm saying here? Like, it's building and building and building and becoming bigger, and also creating an effect around it from people seeing it develop. But also you could say the same thing if you're working on like a documentary, or it could be other more abstract ideas that are not so literal in this sense. Like maybe you're a runner and you're like, I kind of want to get these sneakers. And then before you know it, you go to start walking. Then before walking, you're like, what if I could run? Then you start running. Then maybe you want to work on doing a marathon. Then before you know it, you're using it as an excuse and a positive motivation to like do a huge marathon around like an area you've never traveled to before. So it's taking you new places. You get what I'm saying here? It's something small, and what seems like insignificant though is that you keep coming back to it and working on it until it becomes its own living, breathing thing. Is that also what you were saying? I'm just checking it, and it was not Nautilus. That's exactly what they were saying. It almost becomes this thing so big it like goes beyond yourself, which I think is very cool and beautiful. Also, can we just take a moment? This is such a gorgeous card, right? So beautiful. Anyways, so now the Magician card. In the Magician card, let me just try to remember what my spirit guide was saying to me. Okay, they're like reminding me, they're like talking to me right now. So specifically with Magician, you are going to experience a lot of synchronicities. It's actually cool. I go into a whole breakdown in my intuition training course about synchronicities, which I think you might find really fascinating, but I want to focus on that these synchronicities are small and large, which I think is really cool. Remember, we're talking about synchronicities in the sense that you say or think something, and then pretty instantly afterwards, you see it pop up. You mention you've been kind of like craving Cheetos, or maybe for a second you think about it, and then all of a sudden you see it pop up, like just randomly there's an extra bag and someone's offering it to you. Then the next moment you think, oh, that'd be cool if I could intern somewhere, and then before you know it, you just randomly get approached to someone being like, hey, I've seen your stuff, would you like to intern with me? And you didn't even reach out to them. It's that sort of big and small, any slight thing that you're thinking and feeling, you're seeing it replicated and mirrored back to you in a really positive physical way. So love that. Because I was like asking my spirit guide about this, and they were like, I was like, oh, is there something in particular they're going to get that's going to make them feel like the ultimate manifester? And my spirit guide was like, no, they just will be the ultimate manifester, which I think is awesome. Also, when you are in the flow, synchronicities are like one of the greatest signs of being like, look, you're doing it. You're in it. We're letting you know. We're giving you that evidence back of like, yep, you're in the flow. So it only makes sense that you would just start seeing it pop up tons. But I also love, just as like side note before I go on to the other cards, I love that yours are big and small. Because most people, when they experience synchronicities, just sort of like they think a name, they see a name, like small stuff. But you're getting the whole gamut here. So love that for you. Think big. Enjoy all the little rewards and treats you're going to get. Now these two cards are being read together, the Page of Swords in reverse and the Emperor in reverse. So now this could be anyone, but my spirit guide said in most cases this will be a friend. It doesn't mean every case. In other cases this could be another individual, but in most cases this would be a good friend. So this individual has a bit of a controlling sort of aspect about how things go in the relationship between the two of you. And remember, we're using that terminology between, like, it could be anyone, because when you're interacting regularly with someone else, even if it's like a coworker, there is a relationship. You get what I'm saying there. And this individual sort of like calls the shots of like what's going to happen next, and really kind of lets you know, like, this is what I want to happen, we're going to do it. There's not really kind of consoling you and seeing what you want to do. And it appears that you're going to start to find your inner voice to question it. Now, the thing that's really interesting here, my spirit guide says, is this does not necessarily mean that you're getting into arguments with them and the friendship ends. In many cases, my spirit guide said that the friendship can more change and then obviously work in a more balanced, between the two of you, seeing what you want to do, what they want to do, and bringing it all together. But this is you starting to like question and say, well, why do we have to do that? Why didn't you ask what I wanted to do? Or, well, I see what you're doing. Let's do this. No, let's not do that. Let's do this. But why? Why can't we do this? Well, what do you mean? Well, why can't we do what you're going to do and we also do what I want to do this week and we do yours next week? We always do yours. Something like that, where I'm still putting a little bit of a... It doesn't feel like because I'm just trying to find the right words off the top of my head. It still doesn't feel like you're getting into like fights with them. You're just more questioning, well, what if this kind of thing? And this is not the regular in this situation. And this does create a positive spark of change, whether that spark be, this friendship's not meant to happen. You're meant to have a little more freedom and compromise, or they start to think things through it. Wait, my spirit guide's speaking. Oh, I'm really happy to say my spirit guide says more of this, like in more cases than not, when it comes to this reading, because this is a general reading, in more cases than not, there will be your friend unknowingly being the controlling one and being like, oh, well, I didn't know you wanted to do that. I'm just used to being this personality type. Yeah, sure, we can do that. And things being a little more of like your voice kind of stands out a little more and it's like a positive change. So love that. And then, last but not least, these two cards together, the Moon card in reverse and the Seven of Swords in reverse. Now, I did ask my spirit guide when we were talking about this, if this had anything to do with this. And they said in some cases, but in the majority time, this is relating to another individual. So, my spirit guide said that a truth about a lie will be revealed to you. And it's going to be a gargantuan, they said. When you learn about this truth, and again, in many cases, it's another individual about this instead of this friendship. So in some rare cases, it might involve the friend situation, but in many cases, it's way more outside this, another individual. But anyways, you are going to learn this, see behind the what the truth is. And then it's going to be such a big deal. You're going to be like, where do I go from here? It doesn't mean it's going to rock your world and like ruin anything. It's more like, let's say you had a job and you thought you were working towards something. You were told this certain thing was going to be promised to you or going to happen. And you find out that was a lie, that they were maybe going to go with someone else all along, and they were sort of kind of amping you up to get what they could get from you. And you find this out and you go, well, because I'm manifesting so well, I just manifested another job somewhere else. Now that I know that, this job is in a totally different career sense, but I kind of want to explore this. And this ends up being a blessing, and you decide, because you're not getting fired. Again, this is just like an example here. You're not even getting fired. You're choosing actively not to work towards something you know isn't going to happen. And you then instead get to change something else. Or you end up finding out that an individual has been telling you that they've been like keeping all of your ideas that you've been working towards something, a secret, and in reality, they've been, sharing it to the boss as their own. Again, this changes everything, that secret comes out, you end up getting the credit you've been deserving all along, then you start to get all this attention for it in a positive way, and then you start to be utilized a lot more. You see what I'm saying here? I'm just giving some examples, but it's a big deal type of thing. Is it career related? In many cases, yes. Okay, no wonder I was so psychically drawn to that. Anyway, so to review one more time, You're going to be working on something. And remember, it doesn't need to be completed when you're working on this thing that you're building and coming back to over and over again. It's just that you start on this task and it is going to you're just going to be inspired to work on it and come back to it over and over again until it becomes and breathes a life of its own. It's going to be big. Lots of synchronicities, kind of standing up to like either a friend or someone else and questioning things to improve it for the better, and learning something that's going to shake stuff up, but in a good way, and you're going to be really happy after you find out what the truth is and then use it to your advantage. So love all these signs for you. A lot of like breaking new ground type of stuff. Very cool. I hope you enjoyed this too. Please, will you give this video a like, a comment, a subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of my videos. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 4. Group number 4. Let's find out what are the signs you will see before being in the flow by looking at the cards. We have 5 of Pentacles. I almost said cups in reverse. 8 of Cups upright, Queen of Swords upright, the Artist in reverse. Oh, did I hit the mic? I'm so sorry. The Hermit in reverse, and the Knight of Wands in reverse. Okay. Let me just take a second. Oh, wait, before I take a second to look at everything, I just wanted to mention this. Totally forgot to mention it in the intro, but I have a whole video about being in the flow. I go over the 4 different kinds of the flow, and you can find out who you are at this moment and which flow you are compatible with, and then how to get into that flow. So it's just like an extra resource, just putting it out there. It's my Spiritual Talks playlist. Going on, let's start. Oh wait, let me look at everything. I see what that means, but give me 1 second. Ooh. Oh, I love a little meta vibe to this. Okay, so first let's start with the Artist in reverse. So my spirit guide said, see how this individual is looking through sort of a window of what potentially could be. And this is just the idea itself. We're talking about this in a really broad sense in life. And sometimes you're in a particular mood and you think, well, maybe I could be this individual. Maybe I could be somebody who has this really successful, own business. Or maybe I could be someone who is very successful in, maybe you've never done something like a certain hobby, like playing music or something like that. And you're like, maybe I could be somebody who plays like 7 different instruments, let alone 1. Well, this is very cool. My spirit guide said that you will walk through that window, and that sense of possibility will be something you will be utilizing and hearing about more often. They said that you will often consume things from like documentaries to podcasts to, YouTube videos, whatever, where you hear about people saying, I just had an idea, I came from this, and now I'm here, and all I did was see it as a possibility and move towards it. And there's a lot of inspiration around this, but the important thing is that you are in a constant state of on your own, just thinking, well, that could happen, and that is a possibility. And then you're surrounded by things that keep that fueling and reflective, and you find yourself regularly exploring those options and ideas and contemplating it quite regularly due to your own, it's like your own epiphanies popping up at the surface, but you do find yourself gravitating towards things that put you in that mindset naturally as you're just like going out and enjoying entertainment, which is fun and cute, and I love that for you. Then we have the Queen of Swords. And I thought this was really interesting, the way my spirit guide said it. They said, see that crow on this person's shoulders. They are whispering the truth to this individual, who therefore will know the truth. And the way my spirit guide said it is that you're going to essentially be living life. And I said, oh, do you mean the truth like seeing reality? And they said, no, lies. When you are told lies, it will hit you like a ton of bricks. My spirit guide described it as quite big, quite of a sense of like, huh, and you will just, with no explanation, know what the truth is. And I'm not talking about identifying that something is a lie. I'm talking about full on being like somebody saying like, oh, you know this, and you being like, not only do I know it's not this, but I know specifically it's that. I don't know why, I just know. And you're going to be finding yourself easily identifying the truth, and it just kind of coming into your head really fast and easily in that very intense way. And you will feel it. It's like intense push on you, so to speak. Then that leads us to the Five of Pentacles, and I want to talk about this cute imagery. So my spirit guide said that this bear is trying to reach this pentacle up there, but it's so out of their grasp, let alone the fact that this pentacle is in a star, which is in the sky, which is quite far away from this earth. But in reverse, that bear effortlessly just falls into the pentacle. They find themselves just without any type of thought or micromanaging it, just falling into all this success. So my spirit guide said that you will have an enormous amount of money in various ways, just kind of seem to fall into your lap without much effort. And it would be a good idea to start, let me just double check that this is what they said. They said that this is correct. They were like, that's what I said. They said that you should start just not thinking about it, like doing your best. Like if you feel the thought come up, just start to like go blank, if you will, or think about anything else. Because in addition to you not thinking about it, you're putting yourself in that headspace, because in this headspace, you're not really thinking about it, and you just constantly be given more and more money. And again, it's going to come through a bunch of different avenues, and it's going to be quite large. I want to be clear, if you're familiar with my readings, it is not every card reading that I talk about making a lot of money. So understand this is an awesome, cool thing that's coming your way. And my spirit guide doesn't bring it up unless, that's the way it is. So I love that. In addition to that, where do we want to go here? We want to go with the Eight of Cups. So in the Eight of Cups upright, we are moving toward, this is you pulling away from your like regular peers you're around and going on a bit of a spiritual journey for yourself. So this can be anything. So this can involve something where you kind of are like not as interested in socially hanging out, and you kind of want to more like look into stuff by yourself. And when we say spiritually, like spirituality isn't every single thing that we do. So spirituality is also looking into what interests you, what makes you think about the world or the cosmos or yourself, or maybe you want to look into the history of like musicians or cool documentaries, and this starts to make you think about things in a different way and you want to explore it more. And this in itself is your journey, so to speak. Well, in addition to that, I did ask my spirit guide if any of this involves actual physically going somewhere else, because sometimes that is what the card traditionally means. And my spirit guide said yes, in some cases, some or many. Some. Okay. Wait, let me just double check. Some. Okay, cool. So they said some. You will actually find yourself like wanting to go for a hike, like going somewhere where you haven't gone before and kind of going on it for this motivation of exploring yourself in this type of journey, which I think is really beautiful. So again, it's this inspiration to go somewhere else. It's this inspiration to like pull away from others. Again, these are the signs, just a reminder of what we're going over. And then over here, we have the Knight of Wands. Another sign is this individual, and this might be a little hard for some of you depending on where you're feeling at, but it is a blessing in disguise. A Knight of Wands type of character will be leaving your life. Now, what does that mean? Knight of Wands type of individuals are super charismatic. There's just something so enticing about them. Unfortunately, a lot of people confuse these type of individuals for their soulmate because the connection is just so intense and vibrant, because that type of individual is easily able to connect to that and share that with others. So others think, oh, well, I've never had this connection before, they must be my soulmate. But unfortunately, in this case, they're not. They're just really alluring and, they pull you in. But either way, this individual will be leaving your life. And that is a positive thing I do want to mention, because Knight of Wands type of characters tend to waste a lot of people's times. They're not bad, they're not evil, they are just somebody who kind of gets people really excited about their connection, and then they get bored and they go and build that connection with someone else, and they just kind of do that. That's just the way they are, and they're just living their best life. But it's not always the, funnest experience for others who find themselves, well, kind of left behind because of this. And so not having an individual who does not have the clear intentions to want to be with you longer, and this includes friendship, this includes romance, other longer term perspectives. Most people would like things to be longer term. They will just be sort of leaving your life and therefore opening you up for more sincere connections, more, you can have that feeling and excitement again with anyone, again, friendship or romance. But this time, once this individual leaves your life, they won't be a distraction. You can therefore have that better connection with someone who does want to be with you in the long term, does have intentions for that. So love that. And then last, this one is where it gets really meta. So the Hermit card is actually not being read. This is again for my tarot training course people who are enjoying things. In fact, my spirit guide said it's not being read as the Hermit at all. We are looking at the way they are interacting. The Hermit, which when it's in reverse, this is someone like leaving the isolation of their den and going out into the open world. And it very much, when we see it interacting, it's like going into the world of the artist. But the artist is also, if we look at sort of like mirroring cards, leaving this exit that they're leaving, going through it, and as they're going through it, they're carrying out that same sort of like they're in a small isolated place and they go out into the big wide world. Well, my spirit guide said that one of the signs you will experience is you're going to start to notice how many things run in and interconnect with each other. This can be from a small conversation where you find out, oh wait, blank's related to blank who works with blank and I work underneath them. Wow, what a small world. It's that type of like epiphany and connection. But it's also the awareness of being like, wow, I went and watched this TV show, then helped me be motivated to go watch this YouTube channel that maybe like covered it, and then from that YouTube channel you learn about a certain hobby, and then that hobby leads you all the way back to that TV channel, and you start to realize how your thoughts and the world connect all into a giant cycling circle. And I don't want to use the term cycle or like loop, something like that. It's not a negative thing. It doesn't mean it's something you need to break free of. It's like the interconnectedness of it all, and how you will always, and this makes sense that you would have this epiphany because this is very much the flow. You start to realize how one thing will always beautifully lead you into the next and exactly where you need to go, and you don't need to micromanage it. You just need to surf that wave, as we talked about in the intro. So I love this for you. Lots of good things as we talked about going on, and I'm very pumped for you. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, a comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my videos. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and goodbye.